Magic the Gathering made a rules change to their flagship Commander game mode with the release of the Edge of Eternities expansion in 2025. The space opera set introduced the spacecraft card type, so rules were changed to allow your commander to be either a legendary creature, planeswalker, spacecraft, or their spiritual predecessor, a legendary vehicle. Where spacecraft as cards are inanimate machines that gradually come online as you pour power into them, vehicles are temporarily crewed each turn, alternating between being active automatons and inanimate objects. The 2007 Doctor Who Christmas special, Voyage of the Damned, featured a spaceship replica of the RMS Titanic that its former owner planned to crash into London, framing the board of directors for Mohr so he could cash out on some off-world accounts. When Doctor Who was adapted into a Magic set in 2023, the RMS Titanic was adapted as, guess what, a legendary vehicle. My name is Element Freak, I play Magic the Gathering, and today I'm going to teach you how to pilot a cruise missile. Section 1. Hard and fast. The first consideration when building the Titanic is whether to include lifeboats. The second is whether you're leaning towards temporary or permanent value. Some Titanic decks run cheap red pump and dump spells that provide power boosts, hastes, or evasion. The cantripping ones are fine, but that rate of card expenditure is difficult to keep up with. The Titanic excels in finishing players and creating mana, but does not provide inherent card draw, a weakness for red. You'll need a good density of those pump effects too, eating up more deck space than your grandparents on the shuffleboard. A Spellslinger strategy is fine for this, but you really have to lean into engines that care about those instants and sorceries, rather than artifact synergies, and that kinda detracts from the appeal of the Titanic to me. My preference is to play permanents and value pieces that give me flexibility outside of the Titanic. The Titanic is normally a 3-hit kill through commander damage, but any amount of blockers turn that into a 4-hit kill. Even though this thing is literally worth its weight in gold, we do not have the mana generation to support paying commander tax that many times per player. If we double the damage, we double the kill speed and accelerate mana production. 14 mana in one hit makes snowballing much easier than consecutive 7 mana drops. Angrat's Marauders and Fiendish Duo are doublers attached to bodies, pulling double duty as crewmates for the ship. Gratuitous Violence and Curse of Bloodletting are the 2 enchantment doublers I settled on, though there are many you can choose from based on your budget. Bloodletting lets you put a nice kick-me sign on someone you'd rather have eat hits for you. Two-handed Axe, Bulk Up, Insult to Injury, and Unleash Fury all provide one-turn benefits for double damage, with the Axe having potential to quadruple damage on its own if you have the mana to recast it and equip. Micah is a legend from Secrets of Strixhaven I'm also trying in this deck. For a single treasure sacrifice, you can copy any of those instants, even multiple for turn. It's explosive value, but probably better suited to a Spellslinger build of this commander. Copying a Bulk Up and then also its flashback to sextuple Titanic's damage is crazy work. And sextuple is a crazy word for anything other than the swingers playing shuffleboard with your grandparents. If you're looking for upgrades, more doublers and even triplers like City on Fire and Jeska will work wonders, but they are understandably expensive. Keep in mind that you want power or damage multipliers, not extra combats or, God forbid, double strike. You're gonna lose Titanic on the first hit, and without flash, you can't take advantage of an extra combat. Exception being a certain piece of equipment, but we'll get to that. The Titanic is a big block at do nothing until it hits something, and you do not want to give them the time to set up an iceberg or call the Federal Reserve. We need to unalive them immediately, and by unalive I mean kill, 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 murder, death, maim, kill! Hammer of Perforos, Thopter Engineer, Goblin Motivator, Speedway Fanatic, and Tuck Rebel Fort are all repeatable ways to provide haste to your critters. Though most of these are creatures themselves, and not even large ones at that, running the risk of not having the power to crew your ship and take advantage of the haste. I should probably bring up the 3-body problem.
There's no way you've read that.
A Titanic deck needs a critical mass of creatures with power 3 or more to operate. Ideally, every creature in the deck could crew it by itself. An earlier build of mine tried to take advantage of cheap 3-power creatures in order to burst that damage on curve turn 4, but generally it lost too much steam to function in the mid-game. But it is doable. Hazoret's Favor and Rising of the Day are enchantments that can outlast those creature haste enablers, while also pumping the power of the Titanic to offset commander tax. You're gonna sacrifice them anyways, the secondary effects really don't matter. Unwilling Recruit is another standout here. Normally, you dump mana into stealing another's player creature so you can pump it and hit them with their own thing, turning opponent threats into your threats. That is useful for keeping pesky flyers with high toughness or first strike out of the way as well. However, you can also target the Titanic with it, allowing you to pump its power so that you can either close the distance on commander damage or filter mana from your land base into treasure ETBs, while giving haste and untapping the Titanic. And you can use it in a pinch to give any creature on the board power 3 so that you can crew the Titanic.
Upgrades, people, upgrades!
Consider Tanic Steadfast Second from Edge of Eternities as an upgrade if you have a higher density of high-cost artifacts and red creatures you put into the deck. Part 2. Hitting people with bricks is fun, inside Magic or out, but really, it's all about the And by money, I mean mana, and by that, I mean you should buy Mana Mania.
How many dollars do I need, sir?
$25, less than you're spending on building this deck. It's for sale on the Diceratops Games website. Link in the description. Treasures have a lot of synergies, but keep in mind that you're creating a lot of treasures in one burst. Things like Zorn don't provide good returns. Commander tax is going to add up too, so we need to spend money to make money. Alchemist's Talent from Bloomburrow is a pricier piece, but with minor investments you can double your mana output, tapping treasures for 2 mana each. At level 3, it turns every spell you cast with treasure into a direct burn equal to its mana value. That becomes 2 to 4 treasures spent to bring the Titanic out and smack everyone on the board for 4 before you even swing. Throw in damage doublers and
That's a lot of damage!
Radiant Lotus from Aetherdrift lets you triple the mana effectiveness of your treasures, though it doesn't stack with Alchemist's Talent and can only provide that mana in one burst each turn, provided you can't untap it. Reign of Riches presses for card advantage by granting treasure spent spells Cascade, which is always fun. As for incidental treasure makers, we have Gloin, Piggy Bank, Impulsive Pilferer, and Ticket Tortoise. Gloin is a nice outlet for treasure usage, making you goad troublesome blockers or intimidate attackers so that the Titanic can swing through on the next turn. You can really go far into treasure synergies as much as you like. The new Smog, Goldspan Dragon, Ancient Copper Dragon, and Magda are shoe-ins if you can afford them and want to build in a dragon sub-theme. Reign of Riches, the big score, and any number of looting effects that create more treasures help with the advantage too. But the one card I'd like to include here more than anything is Academy Manufactor. We'll get to this later, but it triples the efficiency for our artifact ETB effects. With a Reckless Fireweaver type effect and Academy Manufactor in play, a single Titanic hit will create 21 artifact tokens, dealing 21 damage to each opponent. Any doubling effect makes that a 42 damage table wipe. Foods and Clues also give draw and pad out your life total in grindier games. But if we have the pieces in play to get enough of those tokens to matter and you haven't knocked out most players, at that point we're just rearranging deck chairs on the... well, you know. Part 3, DSC Trusty with Deconstruction Reconstruction. Like I was just saying, 3 significant pieces in our strategy which fill about the same role are Hedron Detonator, Ingenious Artillerist, and Reckless Fireweaver. The last 2 ping each opponent on any artifact ETB for your field, token or otherwise, while Hedron only pings a single opponent. However, Hedron Detonator allows you to impulse draw by sacrificing treasures. As shown before, having one of these on the board early game generates a lot of incidental damage over the course of the game, lowering the bar for removing the other 2 players you aren't beaming down with the Titanic. Dragon Spark Reactor from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is an artifact that closes the gap even further, turning ETBs into charge counters until you sacrifice it to obliterate target creature and target opponent. Quicksmith Genius is the only non-damage artifact of this class that I've included, letting you rummage on artifact ETB. Great for filtering out excess lands or for finding value pieces. Also, not an ETB effect, but Fomori Vault is a banger in this deck and is only included because I drew it in an Outlaws of Thunder Junction pack. But we can also capitalize on artifacts leaving the battlefield too. Havoc Jester is a classic for turning sacrifices into pings and isn't limited to player targets. Get rid of that Orcish Bowmaster or Pramicon that's causing you trouble. Slagstone Refinery only triggers off of non-token deaths and exiles, but you recoup mana from Titanic recasts and get new tokens to sacrifice to effects like Demand Explanation. But the key LTB creatures here are Crime Novelist and Magnetic Snuffler. Both of them grow whenever you sacrifice an artifact, becoming huge creatures to compensate for the Titanic's otherwise fleeting board presence. Crime Novelist also doubles the mana generation from your treasures too. Surginger would be another card you can slot in this spot if you really needed another big body. But Magnetic Snuffler also has the niche utility of recurring either of the two equipment pieces this deck is running. Now, you might be asking why a vehicle commander would want to run equipment. Won't they just fall off at the end of your turn? Yes, but Assault Suit. Assault Suit is one of the only effects in Mono Red, the whole game really, that will prevent a creature from being sacrificed. Now, it's key to note that the Titanic's treasure generating trigger is not dependent on it being sacrificed, only on it dealing combat damage. If you flicker it, or return it to hand, or prevent it from sacrificing itself, then you still get the money and don't need to pay commander tax on it. Call me Michael J. Caboose because I hate Texas. The +2/+2 and haste from Assault Suit makes it one of the best cards in the deck, and Equip 3 is automatically less than the base casting cost of Titanic. In the same vein, we can cheese the treasure triggers with Voyager Staff and Ingenuity Engine. Now, Voyager is only one time and leaves the ship on field during opponent turns, but it doesn't require recasting the Titanic. Only use it after the first recast though, because it's essentially the same as paying the 2 mana of commander tax. Ingenuity Engine is generally more useful for evading removal throughout the game, letting you repeatedly sack treasures to bounce the Titanic to hand. You can even bounce the engine to re-cascade when you run out of cards in hand. Tempestra is the only TMNT card in this deck, thank God, but it is an elemental, so we'll excuse it. For essentially 4 mana, give or take a few treasures, you can create a non-legendary copy of the Titanic, crewable by the original to fling at opponents as well. This doesn't provide the commander damage that this strategy would prefer, but it certainly helps continue the damage and mana generating stream should taxes get too high. But occasionally, you're just gonna need some straight up recursion to unsync this ship. The Mono Red Durettis each have their own advantages as reusable recursion. One is a Planeswalker, which avoids wipes and rummages, while the other is a sizable creature that can crew the ship on its own. Pia's Revolution is suboptimal for most cases, but presses life totals even further while helping to keep other non-token artifacts out of the yard. I'm not running a fantastic number of high CMC artifacts to make use of Scrap Welder as a Titanic salvager, but it is an outlet for making use of the Titanic at the moment of the damage trigger to bring back smaller things like Voyager Staff or Zenith Chronicler. Trash for Treasure and Buried Ruin are also here. If you're relying on recursion to get the Titanic back, it might occasionally get stuck in the shipyard on accident. Lantern of the Lost is the one grave exiling effect that we're using in this deck, but it does provide 2 uses of the exile. This at least lets you restart from the command zone should something get stuck, and I may consider putting more of these like Soul Lantern in there in the future. Now, because we have a minor Goblin sub-theme and I pulled the card from a bulk lot, we have Goblin Matron to fetch Duretti, Scrap Welder, Crime Novelist, Hedron Detonator, and others from this pile as needed. Part 4.
What the fuck did you just fucking say about the missile, you little bitch?
Lastly, we need to protect our captain's sensitive ego and small behind by pulling our reps: removal, evasion, and protection. The best removal is player removal, so we've skimped on most options for eliminating enemy threats that don't involve eliminating the enemy. Chaos Warp can hit most things, but also the horrors. Skullcrack is a cheap creature removal spell, but its real benefit is in preventing prevention. We fold to instant speed creature or artifact removal. We fold to first strike and double strike flyers. We fold to a counterspell. We fold to a 7 toughness reach blocker. We cannot allow ourselves to fold to a fog. Sunspine Lynx is here for the same reason, and because we are a monocolor deck that will likely take less damage than our opponents when it enters. We cannot let a 2/2 Cynet jellyfish eat away at our damage numbers. They've gotta go. Reckless airstrike and shredded sails help to eliminate small flying blockers and troublesome artifacts, and eliminating blockers counts as evasion. Sunset Striker has a disposable burn function in addition to its value as a mana dork and 3 body for crewing. Goblin Skycutter is an otherwise useless card that's only purpose is to prevent a large flying creature from blocking that turn. Otherwise, Trample and Haste do pretty well for evasion on their own. Slowbad Goblin Tinkerer is our best bet against destroy effects, turning each treasure we've created into an insurance package for any real artifacts on our board. Return the Favor is another good card I pulled from Secrets of Strixhaven that would probably best fit the Spellslinger archetype, but its flexibility is just too good to pass up. If we can hold up the mana, and we probably will because we're not always going to spend our treasures, it can redirect a removal spell from the Titanic, copy Ramp, copy Draw, redirect Frogify effects, or stack our own Grape Shot Win attempt on top of the Storm players. You name it, this missile will shit the deviation and its variation, which is called Error, all over our opponents, and they will drown in it.
The missile is trained in driving the missile from a position where it is, and is the top of arriving at a position where it wasn't.
Overall, the cruise missile has a lot in common with my Velomachus Lorehold deck, but without the ramp or removal. I really just like sending red piss missiles at the neckbeards in my LGS, or at the subscribers in my Discord over Cockatrice. I have a lot of red piss with which to make missiles, and my doctor can't tell me why. You can find our Discord server in the description along with the Architect page for this deck and the sales link for Manamania. So go forth, take your fight money, cast 2 of every animal on Earth, herd them onto this boat, and beat the crap out of every single one of them. And as always, freak out. Unless it's a farm.